Let's just do some active listening. So in other words, you put yourself in place to hear the next thing that comes up. And that's all it is. You're actively listening. You're not passively sitting there. Okay, everybody, thank you. So active listening, I got taught that one back in the years ago when I was a salesman. And what they knew was that salesmen tend to talk and not listen. So what they taught us was how to actively listen. And that means that, you're not, you're just blacking out everything else except for what the customer was going to say. And here we're not waiting for a customer. We are the customer, and we're we're waiting for silence. But you'll notice that you may not have gotten it right away, because this is a good thing to notice, is close your eyes and just listen again. But most of the time, or for many of us, when we attempt to just actively listen, what actually happens is that we just go into a state of alertness. That's really key to alertness. You're right ready for the next thing. It won't work with anything much but hearing. Well, I guess it would work with something like smell, but it won't work with vision, I don't think. The point is that it's a way of introducing this alertness, and over that silence, there may have been head talk. Yeah, did you come in and talk to yourself? Was there was noise like, oh, he wants me to be quiet and actively listen now. How do I do that? Where do what do I need to get prepared. Or this, I hate when we do this. It's just like, God, could we just please go on to the rest of the song, whatever. I just want you to know, I want you to notice, was that you talking? Or were you actually hearing something else? Is that your speech? Are you doing that? If you heard yourself saying no, who said that? Did you say that? The thing is to notice is that this voice is not under your control. Now, the interesting thing is my voice isn't either. So that's also being directed, but it's from a little bit different place. So this noise in the head is the easy way that we overlook what's already here. And it's always already here. I'm going to talk about that, but first I want to just offer you the opportunity to ask a question or something, because last week was so bizarre. It was nice, but you didn't get a chance to say much. Or you got plenty of chances, but we didn't talk.
Well, I think you mentioned Ramesh last time. I'm reading a
I
book.
did.
Yeah. He's pretty fascinating.
He
I
is
I'm reading,
unbelievable.
yeah, like you said, he's so clear. So
Yeah.
I'm reading the book now. It's called Experience of Immortality.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
How does it
so
feel?
well, just let me just like
I mean,
ask the
I'm asking
question.
you, how does it feel to be immortal?
I don't know.
Well, how are you feeling right now?
How do I what?
See, you think I'm talking to Brian, and I'm not. There's no Brian.
Right.
There's just you. I am talking to you, and I'm hoping that that I will respond through that voice, through that body. But it's important to recognize right off that non-duality. If we look it up, um, I think it's going to tell us that it means, like in Advaita they talk about, it means not two.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Okay, so that's a strategic way of saying oneness. The problem with oneness is that it immediately brings up two-ness, the idea of a two. But the not two, is not perfect either, because we'll get stuff out of that, but it's a little bit better, but it's not as easy to say. there's only one thing going on. That's what they mean by non-duality. It doesn't start outside of the book you're reading. The book is in non-duality. The book sort of is in non-duality. If there was a Brian, that body exists with the appearance of that body exists within non-duality already. That's the reason I asked you how it felt to be immortal. This is the non-dual experience. Everybody's trying to get a shift. But the thing is, how could you shift into non-duality when non-duality means one? What is there outside of that one that could ever come to connect with it?
Nothing.
Nothing. So that oneness, see, and when I say oneness, it includes everything, which includes the Ozers and Brian Main and you, Brian. But what I really mean is that within certain level, we have to agree to talk within language levels here. Within relativity, there are four bodies here. That's by relativity, that's true. So I'm just going to say right now that it's true, but we know it's just true in relativity. Anyway, there are four bodies here, and imagine right now that these four bodies were pillowcases. So just imagine four pillows with different colored pillowcases. And now what I want you to do is let's open these pillows up. So let's unzip the pillowcase and see what we find inside. And it's all foam or feathers, but whatever it is, it's the same in every one of us. So we've got four different pillowcases, but they're not different. They appear to be different because they appear to be different colors. And that's fine. But that's just oneness playing. See, in fact, when we look inside the pillow, if we look inside these bodies, we find the same exact thing. And if we look inside these bodies and we just keep going and we just keep going and we even get to the microscopic stage, we just keep going. We're not stopping, going. And in the end, what do we find? Nothing. What does it look like? It doesn't look like anything. It's nothing. What does it sound like, taste like, feel like? Can you describe this nothing? Now, what I want you to recognize is that nothing is not really nothing. It's no thing. I draw the line there because it keeps us sane. This no thing, now it's not really that there is no thing but this no thing. You can look around as far as you can see. Everything else was appearances. There are appearances and there are the no thing. But that doesn't mean that the appearances are issuing from the no thing, or that the no thing is changing or anything like that. There's just the no thing, and it's happening. It's happening here. What you're looking at is the no thing. It's the no thing turned into apparently something. But really, this is coming from your mind. No thing is true. There's nothing we can say about it. We can't even say that I experienced no thing because there's nothing there to experience. And that's the case for no thing too. No thing has nothing else to experience. There has to be a two. There has to be me and it. So for no thing, there's just no thing. So this no thing doesn't even know that it's no thing. There is energy. No question, there's energy.
No thing never experiences anything, right?
Right. It can't experience anything at all. So what it does, and I don't know how it does. I don't know that it does it. That's too much like there's a God or something, like in Old Man with a Beard. Let's just say that it happens. That what happens is that somehow, a lot of theories out there, but I don't think anybody ever watched it, which is these bodies come into being. Let's just take the giant step. No thing, I don't want to say it creates it, but this is, it can't create it because this is not other than it. Feels like there's no thing and now here's something. But my point is that they are actually exactly the same thing. No thing is something. I don't mean it's like something. No thing is something. And something is really no thing. And the no thing, so that you can just not go crazy over this thing, at least this is the way it's worked for me, is to recognize that the no thing is what? Is pure potentiality. The only way that no thing can more, this is not correct, but it's just to give you an idea, transcend itself, which is not true, but it's still helpful word language. So no thing transcends itself with these. When no thing is utilizing one of these avatars, one of these units, one of these bodies, or one of these pillows, now suddenly it can do something that never could do before. It can experience, because now because it's decided. I mean, this the language is just terrible because I can't say the truth, but somehow there is now the appearance of other. And it's such a myth for oneness that there's other, that it's actually all of that belief and power has crept up into these bodies. So they believe that I'm here, you're there. There's here and there's other. There's this and there's something else. But there's not anything else, just this. And is this something? It's the appearance of something. The Susie body just stood up. The Susie unit just stood up and walked across the room. And she believes what Susie knows. So she didn't really believe, but unconsciously, there's some sense that I got up and I'm going to the kitchen, and the body thinks that's what it did, and it happens here too, and it happens to you. There's a sense of individuality here, isn't there? This appears to be an individual named Fred. Really, this is an image. It's not a human. Within relativity, there's a human being, and we're not going to try to blow past relativity. It's vital. It's important. We're not trying to do any kind of spiritual bypassing. Fundamentally, there is this no thing, which, if I say spirit, it kind of has a connotation of something, but not really. We all know that spirit means what? We don't know, but it's not anything that we can experience within everyday relativity. When no thing is coming through one of these, it suddenly has something it's never had before. And this is the special thing. This is why you think you're special. And I think, this body always did it, but only for 40 years. And the 40 years, at least 40 years, yeah. So what it has is a point of view. Nothing has no view because there's nothing else. There's nothing else. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to hear. What I'm telling you is that this vast potentiality is exactly what it is. Look up potentiality and it's not going to say it's a 3-pound box. 12 by 12, 3-pound box. It's not going to say that. So this potentiality is, there's no soup, but we're just going to pretend that this potentiality is a giant pot of soup. And there's a fire under it. And that fire is your energy. And I don't mean that body's energy. That body has energy, but it's only borrowed. The body's energy is completely borrowed from this. The body still needs fuel because the unit has its own needs. And it will let you know what those needs are. When your belly gets to a certain place, it'll say, I'm hungry. And you'll feed it. Or you'll try not to feed it, but you'll end up feeding it at some point. Unless, you go into some kind of, I don't know, I fasted and there's a different state, but we're not talking about states. So you have a point of view. So there's a sense of what? Locality. I've got a sense that there's 2 iPhones on my desk. It just seems to me that there are 2 iPhones on my desk. But when I look, I can only find one. So the sense of an iPhone on my desk is not the same thing as an iPhone on my desk. So the sensing lies to us all the time. You have a sense of danger when there's no danger. You have a sense of danger when there is danger. We perk up at even the sense of danger. We want to see if there's any real danger. But that's the thing. You can't rely on the sensing. Because your sense, the moment you begin to have a point of view, is what first thing you notice is, well, this ain't right. There's something off here. There's something wrong. Now, that is conditioning. What is conditioning? It's energy. Ultimately, conditioning is energy. So energy is arising, erupting. And in this case, in essence, it's playing with itself. It's having a good time. Because now, in all of these bodies, in these 15 bodies, it's experiencing. And it can't do that on its own. But the experience of experiencing, because you can feel that there's a sense that you are here, but when you have that sense, you think you're thinking about this. Or maybe what you're thinking about, but that's not the truth. That's not what's here. Well, that's not what's fundamentally here. You are fundamentally here always. You can't not be here because there's no here without you. Something that cannot be observed, that is not observed, isn't. How can you say I know there's an ocean out there and I can't see it? Well, if Fred says that, it's true. If awakeness says that, it's a lie, but it's a playful lie. It's not a black lie. It's a playful lie, because when awakeness begins to utilize a point of view, then immediately after that, it will become my point of view. And my point of view will be what? My point of view will be this, but I was expecting something else. So there's something wrong here. I need to fix it, but I don't know what it is. But I certainly have a sense that there's something wrong here. Sometimes I get alarmed for nothing. But there's a sense that there's something up. So we are moved, if you will, because there's no decision maker here. There's a lump of flesh, a little bit too much of a lump of flesh. Because when this body says it's hungry, I feed it, whether it needs anything or not. And when you feed these things more than they need, they begin to take on weight. And you say it's unwanted, but you desired it into place. Because if there was no sense that I'm hungry, there's no reason to put anything in the mouth, chew it up, and swallow it. So this sense of things is what there is. And we've talked about the sense of being. There is a sense of being. And I would tell you that there is just being and nothing else. But I can't prove it because there's nothing else. This would have to be being telling you there's being and nothing else. And it can't be proved unless you look at the fact that this also is being. I think I, Fred, have the sense of being. I can feel it in my body. No, you don't have a body. It's the sense of being itself. Assuming the form or the reflection of these things. It's a reflection of what? We always hear about these reflections. Well, what is the reflection of? It's the reflection of what did we say was really here? Potentiality. Potentiality appears to come into existence. It appears to exist, and then it's out of here. Whether it's a mole or a mountain, doesn't make any difference. It comes in, it exists, and then it isn't. Look at the Rocky Mountains versus the Eastern Mountains. The Eastern Mountains are older than the Rockies, and they're beaten down. They're worn through just countless eons. They're worn down where they're kind of, you can find jagged places, but overall they're smooth. They're rounded. Not so with the Rockies. But they both started exactly the same way, which means that it, in the guise of Earth, shifted. Who did that? Who is it that causes the earthquake? Well, the tectonic plates do this, that, other. Well, whose plates are they? How do you know? What is this? It's okay. Science can explain it to the satisfaction of science, but it can't explain it to my satisfaction. Because I don't find any plates, because I don't find any earth. I am not of this earth. Granted, this unit is, and I better watch out what I'm doing. When I'm driving, I better heed the speed limit or I'll get a ticket. The unit will suffer and have to pay $200 or something. So just to go along with relativity, why would there be relativity? I didn't create it, but pretend that there's a relationship of some sort. Why would you create this and then work directly against it? Everything moves by itself, but it usually does it really slowly, like the mountains or like a building. This building was not here 200 years ago. It was just flat land, and then there was a conditioning, there was a building. People came in, these units came and built a building so that they could live in it because they believe they're on the earth. They believe they need a home. You are home. This is home. There's no comparison to this, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. There's like a slide or whatever you want to say, a picture in my memory that I found years ago of a sign somewhere in some abandoned building or something, and it says, "This is it, whatever it is." And I love that sign because this is it, no matter how it looks, because the way that this looks, feels, tastes, experientially, this is uh, this is what we call real. But what we call real is a dream. And what we call a dream is far more real than this. Because in a dream, can be a sense that things are just happening, man. I thought I was in control here. But sometimes you're just not in control at all in dreams, and you're not in control in this one either. But there's not a you there that is out of control. That's just the way it feels because you think you're a you. There's always been an argument between scientists and philosophers, which is, do we have free will or not? And the age-old argument has gone, yes, we do, or no, we don't. My approach is different. I want to know what on earth they're talking about. Because there's nothing here to have free will or to not have free will. Brian Peterson, you're reading Ramesh. Get used to it, because that's what he's saying. He's talking about that this is experience, but it's not true. He's as clear on that as an author pretty much can be. There's another author who's dead on it. I admire him very much. And that is Robert Wolff. He's dense. I would say, I just discovered, I couldn't believe it when I looked. I've been looking for years. There has never been a Kindle of his hardback, but there is now. I just bought it yesterday. I have it in hardback. I've had it before. It's never. I guess it's available in paperback. I can't remember. Probably it's available in paperback, but it was never on Kindle. Robert Wolff, but you gotta, if you want to Google him or something, do Robert Wolff non-duality, and he'll come up.
Well, he's on YouTube. He's on YouTube too, Fred.
Yes, that's right. He's on YouTube. But he's not all over YouTube like I am. He's got, at least with his own YouTube, I'm sure he's interviewed 1,000 places and stuff, but from his website or his library's website, he's dead now. But from his website, what it looks like he's done is about 15 videos. And so the interesting thing was when I went and I purchased Living Non-Duality. That's the name of his book, Living Non-Duality by Robert Wolff. And if you read that book, you can pretend that I wrote it, because I haven't found anything. That I disagree with one iota. I can't really say that about. Yeah, that's right. You can get free PDFs, and when I bought Living Reality, then Kindle offered me the rest of his books for free too. So, or I might have bought one for $2.95 or something. I don't know. What if it was $1 million? It would be your life's purpose to get $1 million and buy it, because that's what it's worth. It's worth $1 million. I don't have a book that's worth $1 million. I've got books that are worth a lot of money if you compare it to the effort that it takes to get to where you can even get into one of my books. Most people will take 2 good looks at my books and think I'm crazy. But what we find out about non-duality and relativity is that relativity is exactly the opposite of what we think. It's the reflection of potentiality. And it feels like, remember, we all of us got here looking to wake up the unit. Let's tell ourselves the truth. I was very much trying to wake up the Fred unit. That's all I knew. There wasn't anything. I mean, there were other people and all this, and there were buildings and cars, but what would I be waking up other than Fred? I wanted to wake up the Fred unit, and I tried. I looked for ways to wake up the Fred unit. I traveled, well, really, I interneted long and wide, but I also went to big bookstores in different cities and stuff like that. I was looking for the secret. I was looking right through the secret, at the secret, and the thing that was looking for the secret is the secret. You will remember me telling you that the only thing that can experience oneness is oneness. There's nothing else. So if there was an awakening experience through that body, what was really happening was awakeness, the pillow, not the pillowcase, but the pillow. The pillow was recognizing it's a world full of pillowcases, but they don't mean anything. There's just the one pillow, and there's not even that. There's just the one incredible. Incredible is such a stupid word to say about it, but it's one of the best ones I have. So I'll throw it at it. But it's beyond anything that can be described. You can't experience it. So those of us who say, I have had an awakening experience, that's only true if you're recognizing that you, awakeness, are what's speaking. There's no awakened Fred Davis. Fred Davis never woke up. It's pretty easy to spot that Fred Davis never woke up when you first recognize there's no Fred Davis. This is conditioning. It's just energy. And it's just energy like the energy that went off in your head when you decided, I'm going to be completely silent. Okay, let's get ready to be silent. Let's do it now. Starting now, we're going to be silent. The thing that was interrupting the attempt to be silent, that's energy. We can't say it's other than you because there's nothing other than you, but it's not in the way that we would normally associate it. So there is energy that we can measure. So that can't really be it. So the idea that everything is energy is kind of wrong because there's no everything. The idea that how can nothing be something when in truth there's neither one. So we're always asking the wrong questions because everything is backwards. That's the reason for years that I've often referred to this as the backwards teaching. I have a lot of students who refer to this as the backwards teaching. Why is it backwards? Because it doesn't deal with units. You think that I know Robin, well, Robin knows better, but just pretend Robin that. So Robin used to think that I really had that I was really talking to a Robin over there. He actually, and I thought at the time, I thought that there was an over there. But there's no over there's only here. But it feels like I've known him a long time, but I've known him now. I can't know anything that isn't now because there isn't anything but me. And what am I really? Well, it doesn't explain a damn thing, but I'll tell you. I am this now. There's only this, here, now. This, here, now. There's actually a famous non-dual book called This, Here, Now. And if you understand the cover, you don't need to buy the book. You know, you'll remember my St. Francis story that when he woke up, he went to help his disciples best he could because he wanted them to experience it Well, he wanted them to be it as well. You can't experience it. You can just be it. You recognize you are it. Oh shit! What's looking is what, and that's what he told his people. What's looking is what you're looking for. Because what is looking? How do you come to see things and hear things and know things? Attention. Attention is a sense of center, but there's no center to nothing. There's no center to no thing. Because the center, and I did look this up, I can remember years ago, and it has to do that it's a point that is equal to the edges, or that where the edges are all equal to whatever, where all the edges meet. I can't remember exactly, but at any rate, there's no center to Brian's immortality. How old is Brian? Well, that unit's got to be somewhere around my age. But that's a unit. We've got units and they're aging. The pillowcases have taken a beating, but the pillows are fine. And the pillow, no matter what happens to the pillowcase, the pillow stays fine. But sometimes the pillowcase, because it believes that it is a separate individual thing, we call that misidentification. Because awakeness is misidentifying itself because it just happens with the magic of it all. I can't explain it. But it believes it's one of these instead of all of everything. Because in technical terms, there's no everything. Because that's suggesting that there's a bunch of things that are the same thing. And there's not really a bunch of things, it's a bunch of appearances. An appearance, how much does an appearance weigh? How tall is it? How much volume does it have? Well, it doesn't have any height, weight, or volume. Well, on the planet that I came from, the planet Earth, we typically call something that has no height, no weight, and no volume, we call that an idea. And you have cooked up an idea. This was not your best idea. Robert Wolff was an excellent idea because he's helping the others of us who are ideas discover that we are not the idea. We are the only experiencer there is. If, quote, I hurt my hand, it's awakeness experiencing what it's like to be a Fred Davis in 2025 in Columbia, South Carolina, and in a meeting with you. But that's not what it'll register. In the middle of the night, if I stump my toe, I don't go, oh, awakeness, oh, this doesn't bother me at all. Hell no, I'm going to react the way a unit does. Which I'm going to go, oh, God almighty, where's the fool that put that there? And then I'll find out it's me. And I think I put it in the wrong place because I stumbled on it, but I had to stumble on it. I had to have the reckoning. So actually, there are no mistakes. I put it in exactly the right place, but I didn't put it there unless I wanted to declare myself as awakeness, and I really can't declare that action then. There's no doer. That includes awakeness. See, there's where we split from the God idea, because God's that. God's over there. You can say I am that, and as long as you just don't fill it in, that's fine. You can call it God if you want to. That's fine with me. I don't care. You won't care. It doesn't care. You can call it Susan. It'll act the same way. It won't take offense. So at this point, I want to stop and see if there are any questions that you have about what we've gone over so far. This is the basics of non-duality. And what you'll discover is I've been in this thing for since I was 32 and I'm 73, a long time. And for the first 40 years, I didn't know anything. And then at the 40th year of this unit, there was an experience that awakeness had through this body. And the reason it didn't last is that it wasn't recognized, because since the awakening occurred through this body, then it was my awakening. And that was Fred. There is no Fred, but there was an energy, that energy pocket. There was a belief that there is a Fred and I am he. And now I'm finding out what I believed secretly all along, which is that I'm very, very special. I am the most special one. How do I know? Because I have seen beyond this mortal coil. Fred can't see anything that's prior to this. We've dreamed about it. A lot of people have written a lot of books on the dead. I don't have any fight with energy. So if you want to believe you're talking to your dead grandma, that's fine to me. I'm not going to try to talk you down from that. Just notice that's what's happening in it, is that you appear to be talking to your dead grandmother. You think you are, and I don't think you are. And that's fine too. Because the thing about reality is that opinions don't matter. Well, Fred, I'm not sure I like that. Does that change it? No. Fred, I just love what you said. Does that change it? No. The body may take a bow. The body's always willing to take a bow. All the credit, none of the blame. That's the name. That's the name of a unit. All the credit, none of the blame. Because I don't want to be blamed for this. Because this is a mess. How do I know? Because I am the center. And I don't find it particularly agreeable. Well, what's wrong with it? Well, there's war and poverty and cruelty and all that. Is there also peace? Is there beauty? Is there love? What do they call this? Just like non-duality, though, the explanation's in the word. They call this relativity. You are not relative to anything. You are nothing. There's no comparison. There's no opposite for you. There's an opposite for everything except you. So what that means is that the only thing that can ever look for peace or love or non-dual experience or anything else is non-duality itself. And it's non-dual. It is it. It is the only thing that is if it is. I say it like that because it is here, but could it be that this is just one side? Could this be one little flat side on the edge of a crystal? Hold it up against the sun. There's a lot of edges. And what happens through those edges is not identical. There's the experience of green, blue, red. I'm colorblind, but I won't share my names for the colors with you because I don't have very good names for the colors. I think I live in a world. I mean, I see colors. I see red. I just don't see the same. We're not looking at the same thing. Betsy is very, very color intensive. She's an artist. So color is very, very important to her. You will not, if you walk into this house, you'll never find anything that clashes unless I just brought it in. Said, honey, do you like this? She said, Jesus, no. Where did you get that? I got it at the dump. Take it back. Or I bought it for $1,000. It's got to go. I can't tell you what a heartbreak it was for me early on when I used to try to resist that. I would buy a jacket and she would go, oh. I'd say, what's wrong with it? Well, the lines are good. but the color clashes with everything here. Nothing clashes here. What I'm saying is that there's no clashing here is because there's no here. There's an experience of here. Whose experience is it? It's not Fred's. It can only be the experience of the one experiencer, and that is a wrong use of language, but I'm going to use it just to put the point across. And then I'm going to rip that point back and say that's not it. But it was closer than what you had. And that's what this teaching is about. I come out here and I lie to you every week, and I lie in every small session, and I lie in every single clarity session or awakening session. This thing is just a crazy liar. But it is, if nothing else, it is dedicated. Because I do try to lie to the very best of my ability anytime I'm talking to anybody, because although I know I'm only talking to myself, I can see from relativity that unit, that when I look over there, the eyes aren't shining. They're dulled over. Looks like the lizards that have the little thin coating over their eyelids, over their eyes. And that's what it is until awakening occurs. The little covers flop up and you go, oh, I just woke up. And who's saying that? That'll be the unit that it just happened through. And the unit will later on say, I just can't remember a thing. Well, of course you can't. You weren't there. It was awakeness as awakening. And the whole idea of awakening is that it's awakeness as awakening. It's not your awakening, because there's no your over there. There's just this. Just a name. It's just a word, but within English, it's pretty good because it doesn't describe a damn thing. Just indicates sort of something, but not something. Presence can be felt. You can feel yourself. You can notice that within relativity, you often hum. In other words, what I mean when I say you hum is you vibrate. All of this is vibration. If we want to go back to it, there's only vibration, and there's something beyond. There's something less than that, I imagine. We're not here to learn more. We're here to forget what we think we know and unlearn. My books were the book of undoing, the book of unknowing, the book of unveiling. And then the last book was the book of no thing. It was written by you for you. All the books were really written for you, but this was written from you to you from a different understanding than the other books were written. If you want to find out what's really happening with this teaching, buy the book of no thing. Don't expect to sit down and just read it. It'll drive you crazy. It's just quotes. And it's quotes of this. And the reason that book came about is that people used to send me quotes. And I would say, Jesus, this is great. Where'd you hear this? And they said, you said it. See, but Fred didn't say it. There's no Fred. This voice was the tool that said what's looking is what you're looking for, is what's looking is what you're looking for, or what you're looking for is what you're looking with. Either way, it's true. How big is just this? Compared to what? There's no comparison. You don't have any edge. And what I found out long ago, very early on, was that in the absence of an edge, no matter what you think, there can't be a center. Think about that for just a minute. Right now, if you go out, hey Selena, it's good to have you, dear. So right now, if you quote go out, I mean, where can you go out? You're everywhere already. But from the human perspective, go out, explore this dark field here. You can do it in the light field too, but dark field is less distracting, but you'll get to where you don't need it. At any rate, but explore this dark field. This dark field is you. Find the edge. Where is the edge of this dark field? I was told yesterday that infinite means there's no beginning and no end. It doesn't mean it's really, really long or really, really whatever. Infinite means it's beyond measurement. What you are is beyond language. That's why it can sometimes be so frustrating to be a teacher, because you can see somebody right on the edge of it, and you're trying to give them inquiry that will help them trip right over, and then they go, I just can't get it, Fred. So what happened at that moment is that awakeness said to awakeness, because this is awakeness too, awakeness said to awakeness, I just don't get this awakeness thing. There's nothing to get. This is it. You can't get more than this. You can't get other than this, because there's just one/none. There's potentiality. There's 16 boxes of potentiality here. There's a couple of people in a couple of rooms, so there's 18 or 20 of us here. And we will feel like we are independent, individual boxes, but we're not. Non-duality means not two. Not two, so what do? Not two. So we could just for the sake of argument say there's this, but potentiality is not equal to this. This shows up because there is the potential for it. But if you are going to be everything, then in truth you have to be no thing, because you have to be the potentiality to be everything in the make-believe world that these make-believe characters are experiencing. First thing I do is I invent a Fred, and then I notice that he's suffering. Why is he suffering? Because this ain't the way it's supposed to be. Well, how is it supposed to be? I don't know, but I do know it shouldn't be like this. And that's the truth. We can offer no alternative because there isn't one. We can offer nothing more because there is no more. There's just this as it is right now. True nature has been on a snipe hunt in the world of men, maybe women too, but at least in the South, we put people, when I was a Boy Scout, they put us on a snipe hunt. They said these little snipes, they were little warm creatures, furry, and that they ran through the dark. And you could feel them. They were warm and soft, and they were really something. And if you had a bag, and that's what they did, was they gave all of us a bag, and they sent us out to catch a snipe. You get it by the road, and you wait, and you wait, and wait, and wait. Meanwhile, the people who put you on the snipe hunt, they don't like looking for the snipe. They go back to the cabin and drink beer, while you're standing out in the road looking for something that does not exist. You're waiting for the snipe to come down the road. And then after they feel like that you've sat there long enough being an idiot, they're not finished. That's not enough for them. So my guy came and he started walking up the road to us. And suddenly he went, there's one. And he went down and he moving his hands and everything. And he held up the bag and he said, look, I got one. There it is, my God. Feel it. You can feel it. It's warm. We felt it. It was warm. And it was kind of soft in the sense that you could move it like that. We got back to the cabin. He was going to release it in the cabin so that we could then see it in what it looks like in captivity. And he poured out a couple of handfuls of sand. And that's what you've done. You built yourself a snipe. And you're so tickled because you're on the trail of it. And what do we tell each other? I'm making a lot of progress. When you are where you're trying to go, can you make a lot of progress? Can I get closer to here than here? What is it that's trying to get closer to here? Here. You are the very here-ness of here, because in your absence, which can't be for us, but in your absence, what is there? No thing. No observer, no observed. For those of you who know more math than I do, Jim would certainly be a good one for that. Then you know that at the beginning of the 20th century, they began to catch on to something. It was the scientists, of course. And the science just developed a theory about this that is hauntingly close. But they don't say it's close. There are some enlightened scientists who will tell you, oh, yeah, it's the same thing. It's two languages. There's two languages trying to tell you about something that can't be told. So you're lost at the beginning. How would you describe nothing? Where do you start when you're going to describe nothing? You think you can't describe nothing, but you can describe everything. But I've already said, everything is an imagination. That's awakeness's imagination. And what did Maharaj call this teaching? The end of imagination. Did that mean units would never come up with another bright idea? No, it doesn't mean that, because no unit ever came up with a great idea to begin with, because there are no units. There are within relativity, but what is the word? Relative. Relative to nothing, there appears to be something. But what is nothing relative to? I mean, within relativity, we've got space and we've got objects. This is the eternal. There it is. My famous coaster. There it is. What does this say? There appears the appearance of one thing, and there's the appearance of another. But in truth, there's no thing. The answer to this quiz is on the back of the coaster. You don't have an opposite. You don't have any comparison. There is no comparison to you. There's nothing that's sort of like you, nothing that's just like you, nothing that's kind of like you except. Oneness, amazingly, because nobody looks at this. If you're not awake right now, you haven't looked at it, or you haven't looked at it recently, so to speak. And there's no recently, there's only now. Have you ever looked at oneness and thought about it? Nobody does. This unit didn't either until it got a gift, which was a very clear seeing and the ability to talk about nothing and sound like it's talking about something that you don't have, but this unit does, and you want it and you can't get it, but I got it. I got it. I got it. Says who? There's nobody here. There's nobody to claim that. There's a body within relativity. I know I'm repeating myself because that's all I ever do. I've been repeating myself for almost 20 years here. What do they say? Repetition is the mother of clarity. So why are you here? Most of you have seen no thing, so to speak. That's the way it feels. I've seen no thing. What you've seen is you've experienced that you are no thing. But what is no thing? You can't. Prior to language. You can't language. You can't talk about that which is prior to speech. You can't write about that which is prior to language. So what do all the frustrated teachers and writers do? We lie to the best of our ability. Well, it's kind of like this. But it's not like, well, what we typically say is that it's not like that. Netty netty. It's not this, it's not that. You'll get tired of that and you'll say, and you'll just forget that you even started it. The hell with netty netty. It's not working for me. Who says that? Can you find yourself? Can you? Can you really find yourself? Can you take your attention and turn it inside right now? And find the thinker? Can you find the thinker? Can you find the doer? I can find a hero and I can find a goat, but neither one is true. Because heroes and goats are just opinions. And opinions are what? They're empty, period. And that's what I'll be saying before someone clicks, as when they click on Fred AI, they'll hear a compressed version of this speech. And they'll say, most of them will say, I don't know what he's talking about. But it sounds fascinating to me. I'm going to go and get a good lesson. And if you're very lucky, I'm going to unlesson you. I'm going to undo you from everything you think, everything you think you know, and introduce you to what I know. What I know is what? No thing. Thanks for no thing, Fred. Thanks for no thing, no thing. No other, no duality. Let's just sit for the rest of this few minutes. If you have questions, you can contact me for a session or you can bring it up next week. Thank you all so much for coming here today. There is so much love. It's not my love. It's love's love for itself. Love is no thing, which is everything. It's always here now. We don't need to discover anything new. We just need to notice love and notice that there's nothing else. What would your experience be right now if there was nothing but love? Nothing to feel love but love. Nothing to be love but love. Nothing to say later about love because it's just love. There's no one to tell it to except for in relativity. And then within relativity, we have these romantic experiences where we fall in love. It's just the experience of relativity. You never don't love because that's what you are. Amen. I think I'll put this whole satsang on YouTube. Well, you won't be shown in it. That's the beauty of, as far as I know. The title of this video, if you noticed it coming in, was Shakespeare had it. This is much ado about nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see you all soon. I love you. There's nothing but that. Thank you.